Good morning, it's the Honey Badger. I got my tea. We're gonna talk about your used car today. Is it 2 years old, 50 years old, maybe 10 years old, but whatever it is, it's a dream car to you, a car that you really want. And how do you want to take care of that? We're gonna look at trying to figure out how to get the maintenance history from the past, get some clues from other sources to develop a maintenance plan that how to best care for your car in the future. All right, without further ado, let's get going. Okay, now that you bought your used vehicle, you gotta find yourself, hey, where do I figure out where the maintenance is due and what's due next, and where do I go? Well, the first thing in place I would tell you to go to is to your owner's manual. I have an episode on that. You guys can go chase that down, and in the back of your owner's manual, I'll show you how to do that. I just pulled up Toyota here, and if you click on the Toyota's website, they have a thing I found was pretty cool. You bring up the Toyota and you put in what vehicle you have, and I just threw this in there. It's got 12,000 miles on it. Click go. You scroll down here and it'll tell you what mileage is needed when. So 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. It says here at the 15,000 mile, you check all these different things. Now, is this something for you to do, or is this something for the dealer to do, or an authorized shop? That's up for you to make the decision. I'm here to mentor you and show you what you can do yourself and what you can't do. A lot of this stuff is very easy to do. The question is, do you want to do it yourself? I walked over to BMW's site. They had the same thing. You say you want to go, I got a 2015. I want to do X5. See what kind of car it is. They go put it here. Tells you it in, estimated mileage, show you the details. And then it gives you a schedule of what's next, recommended service at 80,000 miles, what you should and shouldn't be doing, 20,000 miles, and etc. So this is based on expected annual usage, when you should have done this mileage and what you should do. Now, this is just a guide. Like I said, the owner's manual you have in your car is a good place to start. Okay, some of the best source of information for car maintenance is just ask the seller. Pick their brain. If they don't have data, they don't have any information, or they have anything written down or any documents, just start asking their brains, hey, when was the last time you did the brakes on this? Or how often do you do the oil changes on it? Have you done a timing belt lately? Any major engine issues? Have you done exhaust, etc.? Start digging through there and maybe start scribbling some stuff down to see if they'll start remembering, or they may offer to dig through find some receipts for you. That's the best information you're going to get for that current vehicle. Don't be shy. You're buying their vehicle. They'd be happy to help you if they've done good maintenance. If they haven't and they're very elusive, walk away. Just to help protect yourself, either before you buy the vehicle, preferably, or if you bought the vehicle in a spur of the moment, you thought it was a great deal, and then you have a nagging feeling that something's wrong, you can go pay for a car report after the fact. Now, Carfax is out there. There's others out there. I just happen to be using Carfax as it was provided by the dealer that was selling me the vehicle. A little bit of information will help you make some decisions on that vehicle. They give you the information of what the value of the vehicle is based on their value, and what the dealer's selling it for, and if you have any savings or if it was overpriced. If you look over in the corner, if you just pay for it yourself, it's $39 for a report. To me, that's pretty good insurance for, having to have some history on a vehicle, especially if it's not being sold at a dealer, if you're buying it from a private party, especially if you're buying it from a private party. If you buy it from a dealer, you have a little bit more rights in each individual states as far as what they can and can't do, and as far as reporting of that information. It tells you what the VIN number is. It tells you how many owners it'll be, if there's any accidents, what the service history is, what type of vehicle it was. So it was a personal lease before, then a personal loan, where it was last located at, and the last mileage, which is kind of nice. You bounce that off of the mileage when you're looking at the vehicle. It tells you when the owners had the vehicle, and so it looks like the first owner had it for about 11 years, and then it sold off and then went from there. Now, here's information that's really important. It says make sure your mileage has not been changed. It says, is it salvage, junk, rebuilt, flood, or hail damage? It says guaranteed no problems, guaranteed no problems, guaranteed no problems. That's important if you have to come back after something and you find later that there's been damage to the vehicle. Total loss, structural damage, no structural damage reported to Carfax, no issues reported, no issues reported. and then it tells you if the warranty is still available. Now, this is important. A lot of times nobody's going to tell you the warranty is still available, but if you buy a newer car, you might still have a little bit of remainder of the warranty from the manufacturer, so that's important. Now, we were talking about maintenance, and this is where you're going to pull out some really cool nuggets of information and maybe develop a maintenance history of this vehicle for your own personal use. It says over here at Littleton in New Hampshire, the vehicle had oxygen sensor removed, radio was removed and replaced. That particular year vehicle has issues with the radio, so that doesn't surprise me. It says past emissions, vehicle service, it doesn't tell you what it is. Keep going down the line here, you're looking for stuff like that. Past emissions, if you see starting to say, hey, failed emissions, then past the second time, you know that there's a little bit of issues going on with the engine. You keep going down, it's pretty straightforward, pretty boring, and it tells you when the vehicle was sold. Okay, and then you start seeing the next vehicle purchased, and it says it went all the way to Illinois. So it was in New Hampshire, it got to Illinois somehow, it sold at an auto auction, so it was probably sold off by a dealer, and then ended up in Illinois. The vehicle's color is silver. You kind of walk down the line, vehicle sold again. Now here's a little bit of information. The last time he had an oil change was in 82,000 miles in Jackson, Missouri, and had an oil and filter change. So this is getting to be a little bit more recent mileage, so you can start to see a little bit of maintenance history with that. The fourth owner was in 2018. Now here's a little bit of surprise that I really like to hear and see was this transmission repair was completed in 8/16/2019 and 87,000 miles. Transmission rebuilt, transmission serviced, U-joints replaced, transmission cooler flushed, and transmission replaced. That is huge. I have a vehicle that's currently got 90,000 miles on it, so the transmission was replaced 2,800 miles ago. So that's very, very important. I can drive around with a little bit of confidence that I don't have to worry about my transmission. I went and looked up this company. They have a really good reputation, so that's pretty important. Now you see it's in Missouri. It got to Cape Girardeau, and then it was up for sale. Vehicles sold, and it was at an auction and ended up in Car City and Des Moines. Now, you notice there's a huge difference in time here. There's quite a bit of time and not a lot of mileage. So somewhere between here and here, it just sat around for a while. Now, we're taking out of that is when the vehicle was maintained. We're also looking at oil filter changes and things like that. So you can develop a little bit of maintenance history for the vehicle. This particular one's not very deep maintenance history, but the big gold nugget was right here, transmission replacement. Exciting to know that I have a new transmission in that 90,000 mile vehicle. All right, so that's a little bit of Carfax uses here. It tells you how you're going to use those and what you can pull for maintenance history and a little bit of background. All right, another great place you can find good information is from your local dealer. If you just bought this vehicle from a dealer, ask them before you sign the dotted line for that service history. They'll be able to take the VIN number and run it through their magical computer and pull it through. Now, depending on the age of the vehicle and how much work was done at dealerships, we'll be able to tell you how much work was done at a dealer in the Chevy or Ford or Porsche or Ferrari or whatever market you're buying the vehicle from. Okay, the last place we're going to look for some cookie crumbs for vehicle maintenance is in the car itself. We're going to dig around the glove box. We're going to look underneath the seats. We're going to look in the trunk. We're going to pop open the hood and see if there's any labels in there. How about you look up in the upper windshield and see when the last time the oil was changed? If they take the oil and get it done themselves, that's when it's going to tell you what was done. And then you can go from there and ask that oil place where they got the oil done and how often it was done. Alrighty, we're going to grab all this information you just gathered and we'll think about what we're going to do with it next. Okay, you grabbed your information, you gathered it all together, you found out all the little cookie crumbs of when the maintenance has been done on your new vehicle to you, your used vehicle. Now we're going to walk through the scheduled maintenance that you either find in your owner's manual or you're going to look it up on the manufacturer's website or even just call them and say, hey, what maintenance needs to be done at what time? And I guarantee you that some salesperson would be more than happy to send that information to you. Just tell them what you're trying to do, trying to figure out what maintenance has been done, what needs to get done. And they'll say, I'll help you out. Tell them, no, thank you. I like to do it myself. I'm trying to learn. Now that you've got all that information, I'd recommend you take your current mileage and go back at least 10%, maybe 15%, and start there and go, hey, what maintenance has been done? And start looking for the major things. Has the oil been done? Has the coolant been flushed? Does it need tires? When was the last time the suspension was looked at? Does it need shocks? Does it need struts? All those important things. As I mentioned earlier, some cars have timing belts that need to be replaced. Look on the internet or call your manufacturer and say, hey, I have this car. When's the timing belts due for maintenance? When are they required due by the manufacturer? From that information, you're going to be able to start gathering your notes and say, hey, oil was changed done here. Transmission change was done here. I don't see an oil change. I don't see a transmission change. These need to be done. Oh, the suspension was taken care of. The shocks were taken care of. You can start checking some blocks off of the stuff that was done, or you can circle around and go, hey, I need to look to see if this has been done. Start doing a little bit more research. Now, any brand new vehicle, I would highly recommend to at least start with a baseline of maintenance. I personally, when I first grab a brand new vehicle, to me, I do an oil change on it. I do a transmission change on it. I also do the oil change on the transaxle, either the front axle or the rear axle or both. Also, a lot of things that are also avoided from mechanics themselves, and I'm guilty of it myself, but it's very, very important, is a coolant flush. Now, if you don't have a machine to do it, I highly recommend you look through Groupon, whatever, finding your ad for a local dealer that's going to do a flush on your coolant system and let them do it. It's a messy, nasty job. Just let somebody else do it. A lot of this stuff is an emergency, but I want to give you a baseline of an idea where to start for maintenance so you're comfortable driving around your vehicle going, hey, I've done the oil change, I've done the transmission oil change, I've done this stuff. I'm comfortable with my vehicle. Wherever you are, I guarantee you're going to be driving in inclement conditions where you don't want to be walking. And the best way to protect your friend, your car, is to take care of that. All right, we gathered the information, found out what maintenance has been done in the past. We looked at the schedule and found out what maintenance needs to get done. And you've also gone through and done your homework to find out what maintenance is still lacking or hasn't been done at all, or you have no proof of it being done. Now you get to prioritize what needs to be done and how that's going to work with your budget. Prioritize what's important. I would protect your engine with the oils first. Like I mentioned earlier, timing belts are very important, so watch those as well. Hit those up first, and then start looking around your car and make a decision what's most important. Maybe select the things that are past due. If it was done 10,000 miles ago or it was due 15,000 miles ago, might want to start looking at that getting done. If you looked at it and it looks fine, move on. A little bit of information here, where to get started and how to get going with the maintenance schedule for your vehicle and how to move on for the future. If you don't know how to do any of this, great. I'm going to start with the basics, and I'm working on the basics for you. We're going to do an oil change video up next. We're also going to do a couple other things that are just for the basic people. They're working their way up to be better mechanics. For your advanced people, I got the motorcycle project going on. I also have a diesel pickup that we need to get started as well. All right, if you like what you see, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell thing so you know when the next episode comes out. On location from my Grand Junction Hotel. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks, and we'll talk to you guys later.